Hello, today I'm going to show you how to program the inverse t function on the TI-83s. Again, I don't have a TI-83, so I'm going to make it look as similar as possible using a TI-84. So just like with the inverse chi-squared, the first thing we need to go to is Program, over to New, Create New. Name, we're going to call this INVT for inverse t, and enter. And it's going to be very similar to the inverse chi-squared. We're going to need two inputs and one display. So remember, to get to the input, press Program again, press over to get to the I/O, and then option 1 is input. Now I'm going to put alpha lock on so I can type. So we have quote. Let's do area to the left first. So area to the left. And then colon space quotes to finish it off. Get out of alpha lock by pressing the alpha button, comma, and let's give this the variable name A. So there we go. Need the input again. So program, write for I/O, option 1 for input. Alpha lock again, quotes, DF for degrees of freedom, colon, space, quotes, alpha to turn off alpha lock, comma, and let's call this D for degrees of freedom. Remember, when you're trying to type the A and D, you have to just press the alpha button once before each one. You don't have to do the alpha lock. Okay, enter. Now finally, for display, program, I/O, option 3. And again, put alpha lock on because we're going to be typing quite a few characters. So quotes, critical value, notice I typed the Z instead of the U, so I just press the left arrow key, U. Don't have to press delete. And then colon space quotes, turn alpha lock off, comma, and now this is where we have to type our function in. So one more time, you have to go to, we're going to be solving an equation, just like with the inverse chi-squared, so math, up arrow key, get solve. As a reminder, it might say solver or numerical solve. Then it gives us that. Next, we have to put the equation we're trying to solve. This is going to be, since it's an inverse t, we're going to try to solve a TCDF. So distribution, so second fars. And TCDF is option 6. After you get TCDF, it'll put TCDF parenthesis. We need to put a lower bound for TCDF. The lower bound is just going to be a big negative number, so I'm going to put negative a million. That should be big enough. Comma, your upper bound. The upper bound is what we're looking for, so that's going to be our variable x, and then comma, degrees of freedom, which was D. And then we close that off. Now, just like with the inverse chi-squared, we're going to subtract A, because the solver only knows how to solve for 0, doesn't know how to solve for A. So if you're trying to look for it equal to A, you subtract A from both sides. And then comma, tell it what variable you're looking for, comma, 0, parenthesis. And that's it for inverse t. So let's quit and run the program, inverse t. Don't forget, when you do the program second option, that calls the program. To run it, you have to press enter one more time. So area to the left, let's say we're doing a 95% confidence interval. So 1 minus alpha over 2 will be 0.975. Let's say our degrees of freedom, sample size of 25, so our degrees of freedom is 24. And it's calculating, and we get a critical value of 2.06. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know.